Hey, listen, when you lose something that once defined your life, that's when the real test begins. After divorce, it's like you wake up one day and realize you don't even recognize yourself no more. The same house feels different. The same mirror reflects a stranger. You thought you had your path mapped out, the love, the family, the plans, and suddenly all that foundation turns to dust. That's when a man has to face himself, not the version he showed the world, but the one he kept buried behind routines, pride, and expectations. See, nobody really talks about what it's like to rebuild when you're not 20 anymore. When you're 35, you done lived enough life to know what loss feels like. But this one cuts different. It's not just about losing someone, it's about losing the version of you that existed in that relationship. You gotta relearn how to be alone without being lonely. You gotta sit with the silence that used to be filled with conversations, laughter, and plans. And it's in that silence you start to see the truth. Who you really are when the titles are gone, when the roles fade, when there's nobody left to validate your worth. That's the hardest part. Facing the emptiness without trying to escape it. Most men run from that space. They try to fill it up with distractions, new faces, new paces, new habits. But that's not healing, that's hiding. You can't outrun pain that lives inside your chest. You gotta let that pain teach you. You gotta let it break you down so you can rebuild right this time. Growth don't happen in comfort. It happens when life humbles you enough to strip away everything fake, everything temporary, everything that don't serve your next chapter. You start small, waking up early, getting back in the gym, relearning your focus. It's not about revenge or proving something to your ex. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. You start investing in yourself, not because it's trendy, but because you finally realize no one's coming to save you. You become your own rescue plan. And that's when the shift happens, when peace becomes more valuable than attention, when discipline becomes more attractive than distraction, when solitude starts to feel sacred instead of lonely. People will look at you like you changed, but the truth is, you just stop betraying yourself. You stop settling for situations that drained your energy. You stop carrying people who wouldn't walk for you. Divorce taught you that love ain't enough if it costs you your peace. And at 35 plus, peace is priceless. You can rebuild money, you can rebuild a career, you can rebuild your circle, but peace, once you find that, you guard it like your last breath. It's crazy how pain becomes the blueprint for growth. You realize everything that left you made space for something greater. That relationship that ended wasn't your downfall, it was your breakthrough. It forced you to see what you've been avoiding. It made you fix what was broken inside, not just around you. You start valuing your time different. You start talking less and listening more. You start moving with intention. You stop chasing and start attracting. And the wild thing is, once you stop needing validation, that's when you become magnetic. Your energy shifts. You walk different, you talk different. You think long term. You start building from purpose, not pain. That's when you see the bigger picture, that maybe all of this had to happen so you can meet the man you were meant to be. So yeah, rebuilding after loss ain't easy. It's quiet, it's lonely, it's heavy, but it's necessary because that version of you that comes out on the other side, he's stronger, wiser, calmer. He's not chasing people no more. He's chasing purpose. He's not looking for love to complete him. He's already whole. This chapter right here, this is where the real man is born, out of pain, out of lessons, out of silence. This is where you find your truth, your value, your voice. You ain't broken, you're rebuilding. And when you rebuild with intention, nothing and no one can shake that foundation again. Because now everything you stand on was built by your own hands, brick by brick from the ashes of who you used to be. There's a moment in every man's life when noise stops serving him, when the crowd no inspired him no more, when the phone stops ringing, and the people he thought would ride forever start fading one by one. At first, that silence feels heavy. It feels like something's missing. You start wondering if maybe you fell off, if maybe life passed you by. But what's really happening is life is pulling you away from the noise so you can finally hear yourself again. That's the part most men don't understand. Silence ain't punishment, it's preparation. When everything around you goes quiet, that's when the universe starts talking. But it don't speak in words, it speaks in feelings. You start seeing things different. You start recognizing how much of your life was built around distraction, the parties, the people, the validation, the grind for approval. You realize how much of that was just noise keeping you from hearing your own truth. And in that solitude, when there's nobody left to perform for, you meet yourself for the first time. It's uncomfortable at first. You sit alone in that room, no calls, no texts, no plans, and it hits you. You ain't used to this kind of stillness. You've been running so long, you forgot what peace feels like. But peace ain't quiet because nothing's happening. Peace is quiet because everything real is finally starting to happen. You start confronting things you used to ignore, the pain, the regrets, the habits, the patterns. That silence exposes the truth. It makes you accountable, and accountability hurts before it heals. See, solitude teaches discipline in a way chaos never could. When you're alone, you realize what you're really made of. You see who you are when nobody's watching. You learn how to move without needing applause. You start creating from intention instead of ego. You start thinking legacy instead of likes. That's when you start evolving. Because solitude don't just isolate you, it refines you. People think growth happens in front of cameras, on stages, and loud success. Nah, real growth happens in private. It's those nights when you're sitting with your thoughts, fighting old demons, and deciding you ain't going back. It's those mornings when you wake up early, even though nobody's checking on you. It's saying no to things that used to tempt you. It's choosing silence over gossip, peace over company, purpose over comfort. That's where power lives, in restraint and self-control, and knowing you don't owe access to everybody. When you learn to be comfortable in your own energy, you stop chasing what drains it. You stop begging to be understood. You stop explaining yourself to people who never cared to listen. You move different because your focus shifts from proving to improving. You start treating your solitude like sacred time. That's your lab, your studio, your training ground. That's where the vision sharpens. That's where ideas are born. That's where you learn how to love yourself without needing someone else to confirm it. Silence don't just build clarity, it builds strength. Because once you master being alone, you become untouchable. Nobody can use loneliness against you when solitude is your strength. You start seeing how peace exposes people. The ones who only came around for noise won't stick around when it's quiet. The ones who respected your energy will meet you there. And that's how you learn who's real. And it's crazy because once you start embracing solitude, opportunities start flowing. Ideas start clicking. You start attracting instead of chasing. Instead of chasing, you become aligned. That's the thing about silence. It creates space for what's meant for you to find you. It removes distractions so blessings can recognize where to land. A lot of men fear being alone because they confuse solitude with loneliness, but they ain't the same. Loneliness is when you feel disconnected from others. Solitude is when you finally reconnect with yourself. There's power in being able to sit in your own presence and feel peace instead of emptiness. That's mastery. That's emotional wealth. So if life ever isolates you, don't fight it. Sit in it, learn from it, build in it. That silence you're scared of is the same silence that's about to rebuild you. It's where your next move gets clarity, where your next version gets molded. When you come out of that season, you'll realize that solitude didn't take anything from you. It gave you everything that truly matters. Because when the noise fades and it's just you, your thoughts, and your purpose, that's when you finally understand that peace ain't a place, it's a power. And once you find it, you never let nobody take it again. Manhood ain't something you just inherit, it's something you earn every single day when life puts weight on your shoulders and watches how you move under pressure. Every man hits that season where comfort disappears, where everything that used to come easy starts to crumble. That's the test. It don't announce itself, it just shows up. And it don't test what you say you are, it tests what you really are when no one's watching, when there's no applause, when it's just you and your decisions. See, being a man ain't about how loud you talk, how many people respect you, or how much money you touch. It's about how you handle loss, disappointment, and responsibility. It's how you carry pain without passing it on. Life will strip you to your foundation, and that's when you find out if your strength is real or just a front. Most people fold when things fall apart, but a man who's built from purpose learns to stand taller in the storm. He don't panic, he adapts. The test of manhood is waking up when you don't want to, pushing through when nobody's clapping, and choosing integrity when it'd be easy to take shortcuts. It's about leading even when nobody's following. It's about doing right when doing wrong feels better. That's the kind of test you can't cheat, you can't skip, and you can't fake. Life gonna expose you before it rewards you. It's gonna make sure your heart, your mind, and your discipline align before it gives you what you're asking for. And the truth is, a lot of men fail that test because they never learned to separate ego from purpose. Ego wants to be seen. Purpose wants to be solid. Ego reacts. Purpose responds. Ego flexes. Purpose builds. When you start choosing peace over pride, when you start learning to walk away from what don't grow you that's when you start becoming who you really supposed to be. You stop chasing validation and start chasing alignment. There's a calm that comes with maturity. When you hit that 35 plus mark, you realize manhood ain't about being perfect. It's about being accountable. It's knowing that every mistake taught you something valuable. You stop blaming people, stop making excuses, and start owning your life. You look at what's broken and you fix it, not because somebody told you to, but because you refuse to stay the same. That's real man energy. A man's test ain't in how he talks when things are going right. It's in how he reacts when everything goes left. When money tight, when relationships crumble, when the vision gets blurry, that's when your patience, your discipline, and your mindset get tested. The easy route always looks tempting, but real ones know the harder path builds character. Every time life hits you, it's not trying to destroy you. It's trying to develop you. You start realizing strength ain't loud. Real strength moves quiet. It's that steady grind when nobody believes in you. It's that focus that don't need attention. It's that decision to keep your principles solid even when temptation tests your limits. That's what separates boys from men. Consistency through adversity. And being a man ain't just about surviving either. It's about giving back. Once you make it through your test, you reach back and help somebody else climb. You show them it's possible to rebuild, to rise, to evolve. You carry wisdom instead of anger. You teach discipline instead of ego. Because manhood without guidance is wasted experience. You also learn that not everything deserves your energy. You stop arguing to prove a point and start moving to make a difference. You stop letting emotions control you. You think before reacting. You protect your peace like a legacy depends on it. Because it does. That's what being a man is about. Not letting the world dictate your value. You defining yourself through action, through vision, through consistency. And the most important part, you realize your pain wasn't there to break you. It was there to build you. Every setback, every heartbreak, every disappointment, it all shaped you into the version of yourself that could handle the blessing coming next. You ain't just a survivor, you're a builder. You build strength from struggle, faith from failure, wisdom from wounds. So when life tests your manhood, don't run from it. Stand in it, face it with your chest out and your spirit grounded. Because that test ain't trying to see if you can win it. It's trying to see if you can last. And when you come out the other side, you don't just prove something to the world. You prove something to yourself. You realize you ain't the man you were. You're the man you became through everything that tried to destroy you. That's the real definition of manhood, standing tall after the storm, with your heart clean, your mind focused, and your soul still intact. Money, peace, and energy. Those three things define how a man moves once he's been through enough to understand what really matters. When you're younger, you chase money like it's the whole purpose of living. You grind day and night trying to prove something. You tie your value to your hustle, your confidence to your income. But as life humbles you, as pain refines you, you start realizing money ain't the end goal, it's a tool. The real wealth is peace. The real flex is energy. After you've been broken, betrayed, or burned, you start paying attention to what money can buy. You could have a full account and still feel empty. You could have success and still wake up restless. You start learning that money can buy space, but it can't buy peace. It can buy options, but it can't buy balance. That's when your mindset shifts. You stop chasing money with desperation and start attracting it with clarity. You start moving different because your energy got expensive. There's a point where you realize not every opportunity is worth your spirit. You used to say yes to everything because you didn't want to miss out, but now you understand saying yes to everything means you saying no to your sanity. Protecting your energy becomes your new discipline. You stop letting people drain you just because you love them. You stop chasing circles that don't feed you. You stop explaining your peace to people who benefit from your chaos. That's maturity, knowing when to pull back, when to let go, when to rest without guilt. See, when your energy shifts, your life follows. The same rooms you used to fight to be in start feeling too small. The same people you used to vibe with start feeling offbeat. You don't even argue about it, you just move. Because once you taste peace, chaos don't feel comfortable no more. You start noticing how every conversation, every environment, every decision affects your state of mind. You start choosing peace like your life depends on it because it does. And that's when the money starts to move different too. When your mind is calm and your spirit aligned, your decisions get sharper. You stop spending to impress and you start investing to grow. You stop chasing fast money because you've seen what comes with it. Stress, fake love, paranoia. Now you focus on building something steady, something that lasts. You trade quick wins for long-term plays. You start thinking legacy. You start valuing freedom over flash. A peaceful man moves smarter. He's patient with his grind. He don't let pressure make him reckless. He knows when to fall back and when to apply pressure. That balance, that's power. Because peace gives you perspective. When your energy is clean, your vision clears up. You can see through people, through distractions, through temptations. You start moving off purpose, not emotion. You start realizing every dollar ain't worth your soul, every deal ain't meant for you, every friend ain't loyal just because they smiling in your face. And the wild part, once your energy elevates, the wrong people start disappearing on their own. You don't even got to cut them off. Your peace does it for you. You become harder to access, not because you're arrogant, but because you finally learn your worth. You protect your vibe like it's currency. You spend your time wisely because time is the real money. You stop giving energy to anything that don't multiply peace, growth, or purpose. When you start living like that, your whole aura changes. People can feel it before you speak. You walk in rooms and your energy speaks confidence without words. That's not ego, that's alignment. You earn that calm. You work for that stillness. You sacrifice for that balance. You bled for that peace. And now you don't negotiate it. You don't trade it for attention, validation, or short-term pleasure. A lot of men don't realize how draining it is to keep chasing everything. They run after money, women, status, and wonder why they're always tired. Because energy ain't unlimited. And if you keep giving it to the wrong things, you'll always feel broke no matter what's in your account. The real wealth is waking up with peace in your mind, power in your purpose, and gratitude in your heart. That's the kind of abundance money can't measure. So yeah, chase the bag, but make sure you don't lose yourself in the process. Stack your money, but protect your peace like it's your first investment. Watch where your energy flows because that's where your life grows. Once you master that balance, money, peace, and energy, you stop just surviving and start living with intention. You stop reacting and start manifesting. That's when everything around you begins to align with what's inside you. That's when you finally understand real success ain't loud, it's peaceful. There comes a time when a man realizes he's not here just to exist. He's here to leave something behind. After you've been through heartbreak, betrayal, and loss, you start looking at life different. Loneliness used to scare you, but now you understand it's part of the process. You stop seeing it as emptiness and start seeing it as space to build, to grow, to create. You realize you can't build a legacy if you're still trying to fill every quiet moment with company. Legacy takes focus. Legacy takes isolation. Legacy takes patience. See, most people spend their whole lives running from loneliness. They jump from one crowd to another, one relationship to the next, just so they don't have to face themselves. But real growth starts when you stop running. When you sit still and look at your life and ask, what am I leaving behind? Because the truth is, you don't want to be remembered for what you owned. You want to be remembered for what you built, for who you became, for what you gave back. When you hit that point in life, especially after the storm, after the loss, you start realizing your purpose is bigger than your pain. That loneliness you feel, that space that hurts, that's where your vision is born. That's where you learn to grind with meaning. You start building not out of ego, but out of legacy. You ain't chasing validation no more. You chasing longevity. You ain't chasing people, you chasing purpose. And when you start moving like that, your whole energy changes. You stop craving temporary connections. You stop trying to fill voids with people who were never meant to stay. You learn that solitude ain't punishment, it's protection. It's keeping you away from distractions so you can put your time into something that'll outlive you. Every hour you spend working on your craft, building your business, raising your kids, improving your mindset, that's you laying bricks for your legacy. You start understanding that loneliness is just the price of elevation. You can't take everybody with you. Not everyone can handle your mission. Some people only love the version of you that stays still, not the one that's growing. And that's okay. You stop forcing people to understand your journey. You let them go with love and you keep climbing. Because legacy don't wait for company, it waits for consistency. You also learn that legacy ain't just about success, it's about impact. It's about how you made people feel. It's about who you inspired. It's about the message you left in your work, your words, your energy. You might feel alone in the moment, but one day somebody's going to look back at what you built and find strength in it. They'll see how you stood tall when life tried to break you, and that'll give them permission to do the same. That's legacy, leaving behind light that outshines your pain. The older you get, the less you crave noise. You stop needing to be everywhere. You stop chasing attention. You rather build quietly, make moves in silence, and let results speak. That's growth. You start valuing time different. You start protecting your circle. You invest in things that last. Knowledge, discipline, respect, peace. You realize your last name matters more than your first impression. And the beautiful part, when you start focusing on legacy, loneliness starts to fade. Not because you filled the room with people, but because you filled your life with purpose. You start meeting someone next to you to feel whole. You start feeling full just knowing you're walking in your calling. That's a different kind of satisfaction, one the world can't give or take away. You become patient with your journey. You stop rushing your blessings. You trust the timing because you know you're planting seeds that take years to grow. You learn to love the process as much as the outcome. You find peace in progress, not perfection. Every day you show up, even when nobody's watching. You're proving to yourself that legacy, loneliness. So, yeah, maybe right now it's quiet. Maybe the phone don't ring like it used to. Maybe it's just you, your thoughts, and your grind. But that's exactly how legends are built, in silence and discipline, in purpose. Let the world chase attention. You chase alignment. Let them chase comfort. You chase meaning. Because one day when you're gone, people gonna speak your name with respect, not sympathy. They'll remember how you stood on principles, how you turned pain into purpose, how you left something solid behind. That's the mission. Not to die full of regret, but to live full of purpose. To take that loneliness and turn it into legacy. To build something that speaks for you when you ain't here to speak no more. Because when you move like that, you never really die. Your energy keeps living through everything you created.